the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes. All right, Joe. Way to go, buddy. National anthem. Maria, always our treat.
Buongiorno a tutti. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia celeste, stringiamo forte sul l'Italia, stringiamo
New car loses about 10% of its value the minute you drive off the lot.
Wow.
Or more. That's why new car replacement pays to replace it with a new one of the same make and model. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Already sang that. Really?
All right. You know what? So guys, it gives me a pleasure to ask Charleston, South Carolina, Cristoforo Colombo Lodge 1060. That's an old number. President Renato Caniglia to come up and say a few words.
Buongiorno, everybody. As a few words is going to be because I got a paralyzed vocal cord. But I want to welcome everybody here into the Charleston area and the Isle of Palm. And I presume whoever decided to have this meeting at this time did a good job because of that storm coming through the north. And I presume most of the people here are from the northern part of this country. A little bit about myself. I was born in Italy, a little town about 60 miles northeast of Rome, a place called Rivazondoli in the Abruzzi. I came over here when I was 2 years old with my parents, and I become adopted son of the United States. I served in the military for 2.5 years. And I got talked into our lodge about 12 years ago, and I've been working it, and it's been a very pleasant time. So I want to thank you for all coming, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to say a few words. Thank you, and hope you have a good rest of the day and tomorrow.
Father Forno, Berkeley.
We'll just remain seated for a prayer, although usually the posture is standing. And as we do so, as you know, this is the first anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine, and the end is not near. So if we take a moment of silence and just think of our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. And now let us pray. Gracious Lord, we thank you for the gift of this new year, the opportunity to continue the work of our great order. Guide us by the power of your Spirit placed deeply within our hearts, the desire to always do what is right and just for the good of our order. Take us where we must go to thrive and effect by our presence a difference in the world. Let us be ever mindful that we gather to serve Filio Grand and Supreme Lodges. Our national trustees and officers with insight and wisdom, bless us all with fortitude and continued fraternal charity. Help us in our mission to enhance our image, promote our charities, preserve the rich cultural heritage that you have entrusted to us, and accept our gratitude and bless our national staff office who assist us day in and day out implementing our goals. And let the sacred memory of our ancestors motivate us to move forward in liberty, equality, and fraternity this year, 2023, as the order, sons of daughters of Italy and America. This we pray in your holy name, our gracious God, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen.
All right, we'll do the official call to order, and please roll call. Don, your regalia, please.
Robert A. Bianchi, National President.
Here.
Joseph Boncourt, First Vice President. Here, sorry. Michael Polo, National Second Vice President. Tom Lupo, National Third Vice President. Mark D'Annunzio, National Fourth Vice President. Here. Tony Anderson, National Fourth Vice President. I'm sorry, National Fifth Vice President. Nancy DiFiore Quinn, National Immediate Past President. Frank Gattuso, National Orator. Here. And I'm here. Lou Santoro, National Financial Secretary. Bill Rondinelli, National Treasurer. Excuse. Lynn Lawrence Murphy, National Historian.
Thank you.
Reverend Adam Forno, National Chaplain. Arlene Nunziati, National Trustee, California. Dan Onofrio, National Trustee, Connecticut. Carolyn Cianciato, National Trustee, Florida. Tony Sestito, National Trustee, Massachusetts. Vincent Zachariah, National Trustee, Maryland. Nick Persicelli, National Trustee, New Jersey. Rosetta Stella Byersdorf, National Trustee, Northwest. Robert Carrito, National Trustee, New York. Brian Anzik, National Trustee, Ohio. Gina Toth Becker, National Trustee, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Barbara Famosa Wisniewski, State President, California.
Excuse.
John Carochi, State President, Colorado. Neil Valecka Jr., State President, Connecticut.
Dan, are you? So Neil's excused.
Joe Fasciola, State President, Delaware. Tony Cianciata, State President, Florida. I believe Paula Parco is excused.
Yes.
Denise Spinari, State President, Massachusetts. Anita Lombardo Riley, State President, Maryland. Dan Machuela, State President, Nebraska. Diane Santoro, State President, New Jersey. Michelle Mentz, State President, New York. Linda Anderson, State President, Northwest. David Corsi, State President, Ohio. Nancy Imperio Porcelli, State President, Pennsylvania.
Excuse.
John Bonaventura, State President, Rhode Island. Larry Brennan, State President, Virginia.
Excuse. Sorry.
Richard Bianco, State President, West Virginia.
Absent.
Vera Girolami, National Past President.
Is
I see her. All right, where's page 2? Dan Longo.
Excuse.
Joe Rusto. Joe DiTrapani. And Sarno, I believe, is excused.
yes.
Joe Shiami. Bill Boncour. Paul Polo.
Excuse.
Joanne Strollo.
Excuse.
And that's the roll call. And we clearly have a quorum.
Okay. We are in session. So first order of business, I want to try to go through this quick. There's going to be a really packed agenda here. And again, I just want to thank this team, and you'll hear me talk about many of the individuals as we go through this, because the amount of time that they have put in has been extraordinary, above and beyond what I could have ever expected. And I want to give specific thanks to my daily calls with Dr. Mary Kovach and Dr. Mark D'Annunzio, who essentially have taken a lot of what I've asked in terms of the vision of what this administration wanted to do, and then working with many of the people that you see here. And again, I will mention that as we go along. I think you guys know we have 2 weekly calls, and they're about an hour to an hour and a half long. They're not for the faint of heart, that is for sure. But a lot is discussed in those calls about what we can do to try to improve the health of our organization. And the first day of the week is more about projects, and you're going to see a lot of things that have been done, novel things that have been done. And then the second day on a Friday, we go over our dashboard. The dashboard are the metrics. We literally have pulled out what we think are the most important things: membership, social media, who's following us, what money's coming in or not coming in. And we have marks that we try to hit. And we go over that dashboard, which you'll hear more about down the road, so that we don't just guess at how we're doing. We have literal data that we can provide to you. I think you're going to see a lot of interesting data. But I just want to, I'm going to be brief, which, you know, is not my way, but I do want to say one thing. I've learned something, obviously, when you're in this kind of position. And I learned from Nancy at, I thought, courageous leadership during a very difficult and unprecedented time where a lot of organizations have, unfortunately, charitable organizations like ours have fallen down. She showed great leadership and courage during that time period. And it was a pleasure being her first vice president during that time, because I think it, in an odd way, COVID set us into a new trajectory. Like so many things, I'm sure, in your own lives. And it wasn't all bad, right? The Zoom Queen got a title, but it launched us into that Facebook Live series, which I think is probably was the biggest game changer that we had. And as you'll hear, when you start seeing the synergy of what has happened from that, to the point that we're on a TV show now that reaches 3.8 million, people in the tri-state area and streams across the entire world. We now have companies coming to us asking to advertise because we're on radio, we're on TV, we're on the internet, we're on social media. And so these are some of the things that I'd walk away from just from the last couple of months, and having learned from Nancy's leadership that kind of pushed us into this new direction. Doesn't mean that anything in the way we used to do it, we're not doing it. Nobody's been stopped from doing that, but it's just the new novel ways of doing things to go to the place where we want our members from and the generations that we want our members from. So I thought about it. Here are my takeaways. We are the oldest and largest Italian-American organization in the United States. But there's lots of Italian-American organizations in the United States. So I was thinking to myself when I'm trying to lead this organization, what makes us different? Well, largest and oldest is certainly a distinctive thing, but we have local lodges, like in South Carolina, from our president that just spoke, to our grand lodges and all the way up to national, where we are making a difference in the lives of people in the communities that we serve. That is a uniquely distinct thing that the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy do. Unlike some organizations that just have an email list and may have an event once a year in Washington or wherever they meet, we're literally raising money for people who have cancer or Cooley's anemia, or police officers who need protective vests, or veterans who need vans, and wounded warriors, and so many different things based on so many events that I've gone to, from Pensacola and I don't know what you call that, Festa shrimp, watching Mark D'Annunzio make shrimp scampi is quite an experience. But they're raising, a lot of lodges, local lodges, are doing very well. Some aren't doing as well. And so that gets me to the second point, is there's a philosophy that Supreme, I believe, should start operating independent a little bit more of the financial tethering that we have to the Grand Lodges and the local lodges. The Grand Lodges and the local lodges are having difficulty. And I think that the Supreme Lodge should be assisting, and you probably hear a proposal from me, and before anybody, flips out about it, wait till you listen to our financials, about trying to ease the burden, the tax burden on the Grand Lodges and the local lodges. This can be done. And I've been here for many years watching people say, well, if you're really Italian, you won't care if there's an increase of per capita by 25 cents, or that's to me, not right. To me, I'm not saying it's going to be a substantial change, because we have to have operating costs in Supreme. But what we're doing now, when we just launched this in this past week, is we are now at a place, because our website, we have kinks in the website. It's a new website, tremendous effort by many that I'll talk about here. later as they give their presentations. Our charity navigator score, which I know Joe Shiami is all of us, but Joe Shiami in particular is doing great. We're at 85%. There's not really a lot more room for improvement because of the way they score. But the reason our social media, our stage, our platform, our reach, our TV show, the marketing that we're doing, now companies are coming to us and asking if they can advertise with us, be a part of the experience. So we're not like begging companies to come to us or to donate for this, or they want to come to us. Cento is a perfect example. I mean, thank you, Mark. Mark was great with that. They've supported the TV show for what, 3 seasons now? And their commercial is amazing. I hope some of you guys have had an opportunity to look at the show, the TV show. But their commercial is really amazing. But what happens now that we have Cento, now we have other companies saying, well, Cento's there, I want to be there. And just last week, we are at a place where I think we can, with confidence, go forward and now have people go to companies and ask for those $100,000, $250,000 contributions if they want to be a part of who we are. And I know a lot of people say, oh, that can't be done, that'll never happen. Just like they said nobody would support the TV show. It can be done. It is being done. It is happening. And so you'll hear a little bit down the road about how I'm trying to raise funds for Supreme, because it is my goal to then take those funds, some of those funds, and kind of like a trust account or an escrow account, give a certain percentage back to the Grand Lodges. And we are going to have 3 ideas that we think that we would like the Grand Lodges to pursue with that money. Or you can try to come up with your own idea. And I, just respectfully, we want to make sure it's matching our marketing goals, our membership metrics. I'm not saying everybody here would do that, but we don't want to see $5,000, $7,500 go to like buying T-shirts kind of thing. We want to, we'll give you a number of ideas. We'll put the project together. We have the team to make it a reality. And that gets me to the national office staff. I see Michael right in front of me. They have done a tremendous job. And it was not easy for the first year. I know Joey and Michael know in particular, and probably most of the people on this line, that there has been substantial changes in the national office. But this team, this is the real deal. This is the real team. Shayla, who probably should have been committed to an institution after going through all of our financial records and everything like that, and Michael, working with Michael, have really, when you guys see this, it's extraordinary. It's nothing short of extraordinary. And you'll see the turnaround financially, which is really amazing. And when I first came up here, I said to you as your president, our job and membership wise is to stop the decline. Just stop it. Because our metrics, you saw those ominous, our metrics driven. So I'm sure Mary can pop one up. It was going the wrong way for a long time. You know what? You're going to hear we've turned the corner and the losses are less. And now we're moving towards positive direction. That is not a blip. That, I think, has a direct relationship. There are some Grand Lodges that have done an amazing job at bringing new members, into the organization. So we're going to discuss that so that you guys have, some ideas about that. But the point is, all the metrics are moving in the positive direction. My goal, and hopefully with your support, will be a lessening of the burden of the per capita. That will be at the convention. I will make that proposal. I don't know what it looks like right now. I got to see what our financial picture looks like at that point in time. But keep in mind the money. I don't know what the number is going to be right now. Again, I have to look at the financials, but each Grand Lodge is going to be given kind of like in a trust based on membership, a certain amount of dollars, of thousands of dollars. And so when you go back to your people, let them know when they ask this question of what does National do for us? One of the things that we want to do is now have a more cohesive messaging to bring you guys into the loop of what we're doing at National so that you can benefit from that. So that's the goal and the object. Again, I want to thank everybody here, and so many have contributed to such a dramatic turnaround. My last thing is why. What's our why? Everybody talk, I don't like social media and I don't do this, and that's okay. There's a place for everyone on the bus. There's a place for everybody. But I've watched a lot of you guys show me in the last 2 days pictures of your new grandbabies, your new grandchildren. And, I was asking my dad the other day, and you guys know my father can be rather spirited. So I have to be gentle in how I ask a question. But we got back from Rome and it was such an inspiring, we had been looking at Joe D over here. We had so much fun. We had a great time. You're going to be hearing more about us going back to Italy. We established another lodge. We now have transcontinental relationships with people who want to do business with us. We actually have companies calling us saying, we want to advertise with you. Do you want to be on our TV show? We have other TV shows that want our content to be able to put on their platform. And that was all the result of going over there and building and establishing those relationships. But when I got back home, I said to my father, I said, we lost our language. Can you explain that to me? And he said, well, I think the Italian experience was a little bit different because we all want to be American. We all want to speak English. And we all assimilated probably Italians quicker than any ethnic group, in my opinion, or at least it's my subjective belief. We were very good at what we did in assimilating, but we all kept those strong values, traditions, and cultures. We learned that when we were over in Rome. And if there's anything that bridges the generational gap that we have in this organization, if there's anything that bridges it, that puts it together, it's those grandchildren you guys are showing me on your phones. What will be there for them? We all know we have pride in our culture. We're very proudful people. And I know that you all want to keep this organization moving along. And I'm very honored that you have given me the permission and the ability to assist in bridging that gap so that we can make sure we remain healthy. We can make sure that we still give tens of millions of dollars to charities and that we can continue to promote our amazing culture. This can be done. This is being done. And I really look forward to demonstrating that through the rest of the plenary. Thank you for the time. And with that, we'll have the first National Vice President, Joe Montgomery.
Worthy President, point of order. We did not approve the minutes.
Now that's one heck of a recording secretary. Thank you. No, you're right, Tony. So the minutes are in your book. Tony, you want to take it over for adoption?
Can everybody hear me? Apparently okay. The minutes that were included in the business book, I would offer them for approval.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Tom Lupa, Joe Fasciola, second it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimously passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Bob. We're the president. It's great to see everyone. It's wonderful to be back together. As a way of personal updates, since we last met, if you'll recall, Christine was pregnant. We have since had another young boy, named for the poet. His name's Dante. So Dante's 6 months old now, and his two older brothers, I should say. John is doting over him, and little Philip Boncory could take or leave it. So I just bring that up because I want to thank everyone for their well wishes, the card, the gifts. They're not dues payers yet, but we're doing it for them, right? So I just want to thank, and to Brother Bob, I want to thank you for your leadership over the past 2 years. I have to say, with the great help of Dr. Mary and Dr. Mark, that team has really done incredible work. And that work's been supplemented a lot by the vice presidents and Tony and Tom and Brother Michael. And I already mentioned Brother Mark, who are on these weekly calls twice a week. I haven't been able to make as many as I'd like, but as Brother Bob mentioned, the office situation was so different when we stood before you 2 years ago at the beginning of Bob's tenure. It's really changed a lot, thanks to Justin, Michael, Shayla, Johanna. I've been down to DC, seen the office in motion, see the machine working, and I can say it's spinning like a top. So I want to thank the office for all the work you do day in and day out to make us all look so good. I'll go quick through my reports, as my reports are my committees, that I oversee are the Alzheimer's Committee, the Business Development Committee, the Future Good and Welfare of the Order Committee, Scholarship and Education and Culture, and the Dewar Mitchell Committee. I talked to Brother Joe Rondinelli, who's the chair of the Alzheimer's Committee. He's done incredible work along with Eileen Nunziato, in raising $42,000 last year. I look forward to their August update to see what they have put together in the past in this year. As far as the Business Development Committee, Brother Michael and I oversee or don't oversee that committee because there hasn't been much in the way of action or meetings in my committee. I know it's something that I talked about with Brother Bob and Brother Michael, and hopefully we'll be talking about later in this meeting. The Future Good and Welfare Order Committee is dutifully led by Mr. Denise Fernari from the greatest state in the union, as well as Gina Natucci from the Northwest. And they've done a great job of meeting, collaborating. We know we have a survey coming out, hopefully in short order. They are doing talking about a leadership seminar for new leaders of Central Italy. And we look forward to what they would do. Sister Michelle Mensch really leads it. I'm sorry, Michelle Men, not Mensch. She is a Mensch, but Michelle Men, Joe Fasciola and Gina Toth-Becker lead the Scholarship, Education, and Culture Committee. They've done a great job for the Nail of Dinner. We're looking to hear under the Sons of Italy Foundation report what that will look like on May 25th as we have the Nail of Gala approaching. But we have some good work being done. Looking forward to a scholarship being given out. And Sister Maria Fazio Pignati and Brother Phil Privatera led the Dewey Mitchell Award, and happy to report that since we last met, when there was no action on this committee, the Italian Air Force has given away 5 medals, Dewey Mitchell Awards, since we last met, but the U.S. Air Force has still not given out the award. So that's my report. Are there any questions? If not, thank you both, Brother Bob. Thank you.
Before I bring Brother Michael up, I also want to thank on those weekly calls, President of the Foundation, Joe Sciammi, and President of CSJ, Robert Ferrito. They have been just not amazing as presidents, as you will see in the reports, but I rely upon them for everything that we're doing. Their voice, wisdom, insight, tenacity, and sense of humor have all been welcome and appreciated. So thank you, guys. And with that, Michael Polo.
Buongiorno. So thank you for giving me the opportunity, President Bob. I also want to thank my fellow vice presidents for their leadership and the national office, which is amazing. The work that they put out, and I get to jump on as many of those 2-day-a-week meetings, and it blows my mind with how much is going on behind the scenes. So thank you very much for that. I'm overseeing 6 committees: the business development, as Joey had mentioned, Cooley's Anemia, Garibaldi Museum, Solero Award, the Student Summit, and the Women's Action Committee. And per my report, I was going to have all the chairs come up and speak on their own. The one co-chair that's here is Linda. She will come up in a minute, but I wanted to also say that every one of you have asked how Dad is. So this is my first plenary, or actually convention, without my father by my side. And he's at a funeral today as a pallbearer, as Brother Joe DiGiovanni said, Paul the pallbearer. He's lost 4 cousins in less than 3 weeks, so it's been a little tough. He is the oldest of the cousins, so they all rely on him as well. So he really wanted to be here, and he sends his love. I talk to him quite a few times a day, and trust me, if he could be anywhere else, he would be here, because he obviously his heart is here. So in the honor of my father, in the honor of my father, I'm going to tell you a story. So I took the tour of Charleston, and I got on that horse-drawn carriage, and I went around the city, and I loved it. It was phenomenal. So thank you for that. And so we get on the tour, and I'm sitting with a few other wonderful people from the order, and there's 2 students on there from the University of Charleston dressed up in their Southern attire. And so while we're getting to our first destination, they say to us, "Are there any Yankees on the?" And so I raised my hand. And they said, "So let us tell you a little story about Charleston." So this little girl is walking to school one morning, and a dog breaks out of a yard and goes to attack this little girl. And a man next to the girl sees this, and there's a stick on the side of the road. So he takes a stick and he kills the dog before it attacks the girl. So a lady across the street says, "Oh my God, you're a hero. I write for the local newspaper and I'm writing a story about you because you are a hero." And the gentleman says, "Well, thank you." And as he's walking away, he says, "Excuse me, what's the title of the article going to be?" And she says, "Charleston man rescues girl from savage dog." And he says, "I'm not from Charleston. Southern boy saves the girl from the clinches of a crazy dog." And he says, "I'm not from the South." She says, "Where are you from?" He says, "New York City." And the next morning he opens with the paper and says, the title is "Yankee Kills Family Pet." So again, thank you for all the well wishes of my father. Thank you for the opportunity, President Bob, and to my fellow vice presidents and cabinet here. And thank you especially to that national office. They're wonderful.
Next, I want to give a special thanks both to Joey and Michael, especially in the beginning when things were changing. They gave me some great advice and support, as is our next speaker, Tom Lupa. I just want to make a point and stop here. Tom, I know you put a lot of effort in the Budget and Finance Committee, working with Shayla and Michael, and I know how many hours all of you put into what I think has been a tremendous success. So without further ado, Tom Lupa.
Fortunately, Paul Polo didn't give me any jokes to use this morning, so I just have to get right to the report. My report appears on pages 13 and 14. As I've reported previously, I've been lucky, really considered lucky, to be assigned as advisor to 4 committees: the Budget, Audit, and Finance Committee, Convention and Plenary Site, Fundraising, and Investments. And I also function as a resource person on the Sons of Italy Foundation. I think the best takeaway here is that each of these committees established goals, and they were totally dedicated to the goals, which had to be consistent with our budgets and, of course, our national president's vision of the future. And that ties into a lot of things that are being done, will be done. You heard President Bob talk about the importance of those events that help us raise money, meet budgets, keep the costs to our state lodges and their local lodges as low as possible. Let me begin with the Budget, Audit, and Finance Committee. It really is an amazing group of people led by Shayla and our financial secretary, Lou Santoro, who I've gotten to know very well. I mean, the guy texted me at 9:24 on Wednesday night. No, that was an email. And then at 12 something, well, actually it was Thursday morning, he's texting work that they were preparing for today's meeting. Very dedicated. And of course, Shayla, an amazing person, and you might be committed. You know, I know Bob said hasn't been, but it's still a possibility, because we're going to have to do 24 and 25 budgets and be consistent with the vision of our national president. So good luck to all of us. Again, I don't know if there's minutia or not. We meet regularly, usually every third Thursday of the month. I talked about the committee's commitment, but the most important thing is that they function as a team. I think all the committees, I was fortunate enough to be assigned, they function as a team. And today we're going to celebrate Peter Zuzzo. And if those that know him knew that Peter Zuzzo always said there is no I in team. And that's very prevalent within the committees that I have the good fortune to work with. Let me just go through these notes. The committee has reviewed all areas of expense. You don't want to hear that. You'll see it when the financials are presented by our financial secretary, you'll see the results of the work of the committee and our national president's vision. As a matter of fact, I saw him yesterday in a hall, it was last night, and I had to commend him on the transition that he instituted at the national office. It's really amazing. He's got a team that's committed, and again, they work together as a team. They're well managed. They have Dr. Mary and Dr. Mark that fills in for our national president who has to make a living, but they do an amazing job as well with that office staff. As I said, we got a lot of work ahead with the 24 and the 25 budgets, especially in light of what the challenge that you heard from our national president this morning when he spoke. The committee conducted another audit. The audit was of fiscal year 20, I believe, 21 fiscal year, September 30th, 21. And again, we used a remote formula that Tony and I instituted during COVID, and saves money and gets the job done. Next is the Convention and Site Committee. Co-chair that with Mark. The takeaway there is that we work in conjunction with the Budget and Finance Committee, but we review contracts, we review all the particulars that get us to a place like this. But again, the takeaway is that we're looking to keep the costs as low as possible, get value for the money we spend, and make it enjoyable for everyone to come and get together and break bread and do the business of the order. And I think that's a wonderful balance that we're trying to maintain. And hopefully we'll be able to project that into the next couple of budgets. Fundraising, Diane Santoro did an amazing job with her committee, getting together a number of programs, game boards, lottos, raffles, etc. We didn't institute any. I mentioned it before. I'm not going to go into it. Some legal concerns we had, none of which were insurmountable. What really happened there, we were doing so well with instituting cost savings, et cetera. And President Bob, as you know, is very focused on keeping expenses as low as possible to our membership. And in that vein, we did not want to burden our states and their local lodges with having to participate in fundraising activities. So what we learned is a lot of different, and we vetted a lot of different programs that we could institute should we need to generate additional fundraising to support Supreme. So I thank you. I know it's tough that when you look at the finances, you see that fundraising line and there's no money associated with by the committee, but believe me, that is not the case. Should put my glasses on. I can't read my notes. I guess the next one is the Investment Committee. Tony Nacarado chairs that, and he'll be giving you a full report. Everyone in this room has some kind of investment, whether it's a 401k, an IRA, 403b, a deferred comp plan where they work, et cetera. And obviously, 2022 was a challenging year for any investment, whether you do it on your own or you do it through a professional organization. But Tony will give you a complete update on that. You know, through the year end 12/31, we have approximately $9.5 million under investment, and for Supreme and SIF, we're about 2.7. Again, it changes daily. Tony will give you an update, probably take you through the end of January, February 1st. An important takeaway with the investment is, and President Bob alluded to, the need to grow our funds, all right? The foundation to support the charitable endeavors, and the Supreme for the operational needs. As I've said before, it's imperative that we work toward development of means to grow our assets we need, and it's being done. Again, President Bob alluded to it, an important takeaway. We need social media support, communication support, and development